Okay, welcome back to Rail 150. This isn't really a how-to; it's more of a bit of a groan, bit of a grumble, and also to talk about some of the problems that I've come across as a new railway modeller and somebody who used to have Hornby railways as a child and then come back into the hobby just through nostalgia and kind of wanting to keep myself busy and learning some new things. However, okay, so I digress. This is a 1977 Albert Hall. It came from the Silver Jubilee range, Hornby Special Limited Edition box. It comes with four Pullman carriages. It's a nice model, but I think it's based on the, well, in fact I know, it's based on the Hornby Triang model from that time. Now, what my groan is really nothing to do with the model, it's the changes which have taken place since. You'll see that it's in front of some points. Now, these are Peco electro frog points. Now, what I'm finding is that the older rolling stock has a great difficulty being reliable on these particular things. What tends to happen is that the wheels foul in the frog, and also in any of the plastic areas here, and also on the wheel guide just there where I'm pointing to. What happens on this particular model is that the wheel flanges on the locomotive are at stock too narrow to fit in to this area between here and here. So what happens is that the outside, or well, the inner curve here, which would be the guide rail, I think you'd call it. This tracks the locomotive around. That's fine. The flange is on the inside here. But what happens is that when it hits this area here and gets locked in there, two things are happening. The locomotive is too narrow to go through this gap to this gap, so it rides up. The locomotive actually climbs up out of the point onto the top of the frog, and then it either falls back in if you're lucky, or it goes that way and then derails. I mean, I'm just a bit surprised that tolerances are that fine. I think if Peco had managed to make these slightly smaller in this gap here, that would have allowed for older rolling stock to reliably run. I mean, I'm prepared to fiddle with things for a long time. It doesn't really bother me, but some people who might be put off from the hobby just from thinking, well, I haven't got the time to deal with these issues, and I don't know what the solution is. Maybe the solution is to try to buy old Hornby points, I don't know. But I'm running DCC as well, and I want to try to keep this reliable. Anyway, I did find a solution. It was not very technical. I was thinking, well, do I need to grind down the flanges on the locomotive here? Do I need to take these off and have them machined down? Not that I have the ability to do that, I haven't got a lathe. So would I just spin it on some sandpaper or some grit paper just to try to take a couple of thou off there? What do I do? Anyway, the depth of the flange was not such a critical thing. It was more the back-to-back measurement of the wheels. Now these wheels here are the only ones which you need to worry about. This one here has no flange on, so it doesn't really have any effect. So what I found out is, well, let me just see if these wheels are actually, how are they pressed onto the axle. Now, all I had to do to alleviate this problem was to hold the locomotive carefully, get a screwdriver and slightly prise the wheel. And I'm talking slight, minute amount. So holding one wheel there, take a screwdriver into here and prise it out a minute amount. That immediately alleviated the problem on the locomotive. The tender was not a problem. However, the carriages were. So the locomotive came with the Pullman carriages. I think this is also a Triang. The numbers escape me. I'll put the numbers on the description in the video. So this is a Triang coach from that period. Now, the same situation occurs here. The back-to-back measurement of the wheel is too narrow. It should be 14.5 millimeters. So I've ordered some direct replacement wheels for this locomotive, for these coaches, to try to get them in use. I mean, I know there's better detailed coaches around these days, but this is the coach that came with the locomotive. It's nearly 40 years old. It's survived. It's in good condition. It needs a bit of a dust down, but I don't want to get rid of it for that reason. And it runs really, really smoothly. And to be honest, the detail isn't terrible. And I think, you know, if you put some lights inside, a few people, and maybe some curtains in, it would look fine. And even now, it's not embarrassing. So, yeah, that's what I'm waiting for now is some new wheels to go into these bogies here. They're very simple to. Oh, by the way, they're very simple to swap over. All you've got to do is to literally push the bogie wheel down, and let's just see if I can take one out for you. I don't want to take one out too many times. Get into a better position here. There you go. They just prise out. They're on a sharp point like that on both sides. And that's what the wheel spins on. No need for any fancy brass bushes or anything like that. So the replacement wheels are apparently a direct swap. The only thing you've got to watch is that you get similar wheel. Don't get wagon wheels. And I think the diameter, not of the flange area, but of the running wheel area, the part that sits on the track, that has a diameter, I think, of 12.6 millimeters. Again, I'll put this in the description. But since it's actually off, I can show you what actually happens in the frog. And I think there's a few YouTube videos, certainly from John's, I think, is it John's Amazing Trains or something, who also shows this. So what happens is that when the wheel comes up onto the frog, it rides up, and you can see straight away there, the wheel rides up. It can fall back in, and it's ridden up on the other side now. So they have a great lumpy time. They're riding up again, riding up again. Now this either derails on DC, but on DCC, it's a more of a problem, is that it shorts out the controller. So what it actually does is to short the controller out, and that's not great. So this needs to be alleviated as quick as possible if you want to have nice, reliable running of your rolling stock. Okay, all right. What I'll do is report back once I've received the wheels and put them into the coaches. I'll show you the Albert Hall running around. It isn't DCC converted, it's still on DC, but I'll show it going around the layout without derailment and without making clunking, jumping noises as it goes over the points. Okay, bye for now.